All right, so evidently the only way to get me to stop is to run out of paint. All right, guys, back out here again. So did a little extra stuff today on the guitar, and here's what we did. All right, so the stinger that we put on it, Dad said, hey, that looks good. So we said, great. So I got some that spray shellac that y'all probably seen. If you hadn't watched my other videos, you need to go watch them. I use that Zinsser de-wax shellac a lot. So I sprayed. I didn't want this to be super high, so I'm trying to keep it low so I can still feel the tape. So I don't want to get as high as the tape. I want to stay lower. So actually what I'm about to do is sand this down some. So what this is about 3 coats of that de-wax shellac on this, and then I sanded it down to make it smooth. And I used the de-wax shellac to try and fill in any of the pores. So it looks like it did a pretty good job. There's a couple spots right here that I don't like, and I'll probably just rub some of that wood filler in there and just fill those little pores up. But down here it looks really good. That's pretty full. So you can see that where the tape line is. So I don't want to be as high as that tape line, because when you pull it off, it's hard to blend that in when you go to finish it. So I'd already had probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 coats of that shellac on this, and it's good. It's ready to roll. Doesn't really have any imperfections in it at all that I need to really fix. So I'm just going to sand that off and get it nice and smooth, and get the imperfections out. And I'm going to spray this with flat black and spray this with flat black. So I'm not going to video me spraying and sanding and all that stuff. At this point, it's kind of ridiculous. So if you're spray painting and making headstocks, you know how to spray paint. So anyway, so I'm about to do a little sanding, and then I'm going to, if it looks good, like I said, I'll probably fill these little pieces in, because I'm a weirdo, so I like to have everything super smooth. Anyway, I'm gonna work on that now and come back when I got it finished. All right, so I sprayed, I left out the front alone because it was nice. I sprayed that with maybe 2 more coats of the filler primer, and then I just hit it with a super light coat of black. It had some yucky stuff up here, so I kind of sanded it out a little bit more. So I'm going to hit it with another coat of black, another light coat. You don't want to hit it too thick because I don't want to get it built up too high on the neck. So I'm about to hit it again. All right, so this is after coat number 2. You see it smoothed out a lot. So it's taking the paint really well. I don't really see any real imperfections. There's a little scratchy right there. See those scratches? So I might let this dry and try and get those scratches out. But this looks great up here, and this looks really good. So it's gonna dry nice and flat. And I'm using flat paint, so for you that like to use glossy stuff, and you're still going to use a 2K clear, I suggest you use a flat because it dries. So this will be dry in 20 minutes, and I can sand it or play with it or whatever I need to do. So my goal is to get the tape off tonight. So I'm going to try and get it done to where I can have the tape off. But that's what I want to do. So I'm going to let this dry, and then this is good up here. I'll probably hit this with 1 more coat just to make sure I have good coverage for when I go to level sand it. Because you don't want this nice and smooth for when you go to put your letters on, your stickers, or whatever you're gonna put, water slides. And then this is almost ready. Like I said, I gotta get those scratches out because I don't want those to show up anywhere. All right, note to you guys, when you're doing this stuff, don't do stupid stuff. So what I did was I laid the guitar in my lap, like that way down. Well, this wasn't super dry yet, so it stuck to my pants. So I had to sand it out. Well, you can see where it was on my pants a little bit. So you can see some little dots right there. I'm gonna try and fill those in with a little bit more paint. So don't do stupid stuff, but all this other stuff's coming out good. So now I'll probably ruin these pants. So number 1, don't paint in good pants. So don't do stupid stuff. All right, so evidently the only way to get me to stop is to run out of paint. So this was the last good coat on this, and it is flawless. It's a little orange peely, but that's no problem because we can sand that down after it dries tomorrow. So that's nice. No imperfections, no flaws. Got the sides painted, and then this is the same way. No imperfections, no flaws. Nice and thick. You can still see the outline of the tape, so hopefully it won't be too high, you know, whatever. I think this is probably 4 coats of black. And I do that because when I go to sand it, I want to make sure that I don't burn through the black, because once you get it on there, you can't fix this. It's done. So I want to make sure you get a good thick coat. So anyway, so we're going to put this in a safe spot and let her dry overnight before we touch it again. Tomorrow it should be perfect. Now I'm thinking, do I take the tape off or leave it? I think I'm just going to leave it, because I've had luck taking tape off either way. So let's get it under a light right quick, give a really good inspection. Nothing wrong with that. That'll sand down nicely. Same thing with that. No cracks, no scratches, no stupid marks. So now, pending I don't do something stupid between now and the time I go put it down, it should work out fine. So that's that. Whoop, just kidding. All right, so put her down, let her rest, and then we'll pick it up tomorrow and see if we can sand it down. And maybe I should have pre-drilled the holes for the truss rod, but you know, I like to live on the wild side, so we'll drill the holes tomorrow, see if we can put the Gibson and the Les Paul logo. That's a little wonky right there. You can see that light hitting off of it, but you're not going to see that once you get everything said and done. So anyway, but that's it. That's the Stinger. Bam, big deep Stinger to the 3rd fret, son. That's what we wanted. So we'll see it better tomorrow when we get all this tape off. So now, after all the imperfections are filled up, we got to mess with that a little bit, but it really goes fast now that all this stuff's done. So we'll keep on rolling. As you can see here in the background, I have another golf cart flip going on. Y'all probably don't care about that. So without further ado, here's what we've done with the guitar. Sorry I hadn't posted in a while. Pretty sure I had COVID all last week, kind of in and out of work. I didn't get tested, but my kid, we tested him yesterday because he was all snotty and stuff, and daycare rules and all that, you got to test them. So tested him and he was positive, so I'm pretty sure I got him sick. So anyway, so that's where I've been. So fun times. So here we go. All right, so here is our Stinger. It's got a little bit of residue from the I think the shellac crept underneath the tape, which is fine because it's gonna all blend in when I go to do the brown. It's got a couple little marks, see that little mark right there on the left side. It's all gonna buff out. See, it's got a little bit of stuff right there, but I mean, I'm literally a ½ inch from it. So when you pop out of there, it's not a big deal. So anyway, for the first take, I think we did great. Flowed good. Got some nice tight lines right there. Lines up here tight. Lines on the opposite side. Nice and tight. So what we'll do is all that exposed wood is gonna be that old vintage brown look. So what I have to do now is tape up the fretboard really nice, and then do the edges with the sandpaper. So and get this ready to put the shellac on. So I also have to drill the hole for the thing, put the stickers on and all that, but that's for later. So man, that looks pretty dang good. Pretty happy with this. So it's gonna look great. But Stinger, pretty sure that's straight. I don't know, y'all tell me in the comments what you think. It looks straight to me. I don't have a problem with that. So I'll also show y'all a little tip. All right, so I don't know where my stand is, so I'll just have to get through this the best I could. All right, so when you do this and you do as much paint and layers as I do, it's gonna be a little bit raised.
And I was thinking, you know what? This wood is pretty soft, and so I'm sure paint's pretty soft. So I got a paintbrush from one of those foam rollers, and you can actually see the indentations of how hard that paint actually is when you roll it. See that? Look at those, all those indentations. So what I did was I took this, and I'm not gonna be able to do it, but I rolled it right down the edges like this, nice and hard, and it actually made it a lot flatter. I mean, you can't hardly see where it's raised at all. Like it flattened it way down. Like, cause you could feel it a lot with your fingers, and it's a lot flatter. And the reason I do that is because when you go, and this is the first time I've ever done it, I just trying to figure out a way. I just was about to go to sleep one night, it popped in my head, try and push it down and see if it works better. Because what happens is when you go to spray the clear on there and you're trying to float this big boy in, the higher it is and the more raised it is, the harder it is to blend it in and make it nice and smooth to where it's not even there. So the same thing with your decals. So I don't know if I'm gonna try that on the decals or not, but with this, it worked pretty well. So it's laying down pretty nice. So it ought to be able to go in there. Because the last thing you want is whenever you're sitting here playing and you're running your hand and all that up and down here all the time, you don't want to feel this all the time rubbing on your hand. So I want that nice and smooth and blended in. See, my stinger only goes to the first fret, so mine only stops it right here. Dad wanted his all the way to the 3rd fret. So I mean, you can see 3rd fret. I mean, we're touching the 3rd fret, so we're exactly where he wanted it. So anyway, that's where we're at. Time to get to taping. So with this big nasty, we have pretty much a lot of the holes filled in. So now we just got to go tape all the way around the edges to protect any of this. And then I'm going to take the sandpaper and make the perforated edges and peel that back to where I get a nice even edge. So that's a little bit rough right there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use once I get it taped, I'm going to tape this probably a little bit better. I have a lot of wood putty in here to fill some of these holes. So I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and smooth that out some more inside of there. So my plan is to shoot a light coat of the gray primer to kind of highlight any imperfections that I have, so I can do like one last fix before I spray the white, because I don't want to start fixing it once I've sprayed the white. I want to spray the primer and get that down, and then I can spray the white. So anyway, and the plan also is the white is going to be a little bit brighter white than he wants. So I'm going to spray it white, and once it's white, if he likes the white, we'll leave it. If he doesn't, my plan is to get some of that spray shellac and spray the spray shellac over it and give it a more of a yellowish look, because that stuff kind of turns things yellow. So we'll try that if he doesn't like it. So anyway, so what I'm going to do now is start taping this bad boy off. I think it's 74% humidity in here and 84 degrees, so it might be a little too humid. I don't know, I might do a little test spray of the primer, because that stuff dries really fast, so it doesn't really matter to it too much about humidity. So we'll do a little test spot maybe and see. I might try to get one layer on here. I don't know, we'll see. Normally that means I'm going to do it no matter what. So all right, folks, so you know, YouTube is a funny thing. It's like I just spent, I don't know, an hour sitting here taping this, and you click back on, it's like, oh, took 5 minutes. So as you can see, we have a perfect edge all the way around. So we did a layer of tape all the way around, and took some 220 and gently went up like this and perforated the edge. So now it's all the way around. I left a little mark right here because I want to paint over that. So I think it'll look better when it's painted white like everything else, and it'll match the binding better than this big ugly red mark. So I figured that's just gonna get painted. So I ran into a conundrum here, sitting here scratching the crap out of this thing while I'm doing this on this stupid chair leg, so it'll buff out, whatever. Oh God. So here's my problem. Thank you for turning off. That was very nice of you. So when I stick this guy in here, so when I stick it in there, don't worry about that. I can get that lined up perfect. That's the problem when he did it the first time. It was kicked up too far like that, and it wouldn't get the action right. But now it's gonna kick back like I want it. So anyway, here's the problem. There's a bit of a gap between the two. Now, if I set the neck like it is, I could fill that gap and then paint the guitar, fill it, tape it, and it would be a little more smooth. And I could also fix any gaps around the edge, and I could try to fix this little bit of a gap here, which is not that big of a deal. Sorry, I'm trying to video everything. It's not that big of a deal, but I could fix that too. So I'm kind of thinking, because I did my gold top like that, I had set the neck and painted the whole thing. So I'm kind of leaning towards just setting the neck and then painting the top and fixing these holes, because the plan is once I get it together, we're never taking this thing apart again. So I'm thinking I'm gonna ask Dad tomorrow what he wants to do. I have a feeling he won't care, but I think about setting the neck, and I'm gonna do it right to make sure everything lines up. That's my plan anyway. Set the neck, tape all this off, then set the neck, and then try to fix these little gaps, because I don't like that. I want that to be nice and smooth, because I can run my tape layer all the way around here and around here and around here and have that fixed to where it'll have a nice tape line, and I can also hit it with a razor blade and fix that. And once I clear coat it, it'll all be blended in. So I think that's the plan. I think I'm gonna stop working on it tonight, and then I'll talk to him about it tomorrow and then mess with it later. But Stinger came out great after I looked at it. I mean, that's pretty freaking straight. So straight as it's gonna need to get for government work. So anyway, set that over there. Put this guy down. He's taped off. That's the hard part, is taping it off. Spraying it's the easy part. So anyway, if I had it in me, I would just go ahead and set the neck and do it tonight, but I don't want to rush that because that's kind of important. So anyway, still got a mess, still rolling. I'll throw this up for y'all so y'all can see the updates. Always don't forget, if you're getting anything out of these videos, like, share, subscribe. It's kind of bland these days. Don't really have a lot to show you other than what I'm doing. So we got we're gonna do just a flat white primer is all we're gonna do. So it's not gonna be anything spectacular. And then the wherever it went, shellac. So then possibly shellac over the top of this. You can see I shellacked this with that, and it has that older yellow look to it. So I think Dad's going for not a yellow look, but an older look. Like, he wants the guitar, I think, to look like it's been sitting in a bar for 15 years and it made it all the way through the 60s and the 70s. So we'll see. But anyway, stay tuned.